Hey everyone, thanks again for joining Sweat Success Podcast today. I've got a fabulous person on the show today. And I just want to talk a little bit about a few things before we even get started. I've spent a lot of money on finding out who I need to be working with, getting into some of these masterminds, understanding marketing, advertising. And that's not my main forte. That's not my area. And that's why I've spent so much money on it. And today I've got one of the guys that has been involved directly being mentored by Gary Halbert. Okay. He has guys that he's worked with like John Benson, Ryan Levesque. He has generated literally over $150 million in sales himself through online marketing and advertising. He's one of the top internet marketers in the world. And I've got him here on the show today. Today, I've got Caleb Odowd. He's fantastic. Today, he's calling in from Spain. He lives here in Florida, same state that I live in. Caleb, thank you so much today for joining us. And I really want to dive into some of this information because you got a lot to share and we only have a little bit of time. So I want to make sure I give the listeners everything. I'm going to squeeze you as much as I can to get as much out of you. Caleb, thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you very much for having me, Michael. I appreciate it.
So first question, I'm going to hit you hard with this one. Okay. Is copywriting dead? Okay. From the general sense of copywriters out there working and they're creating great material. Is it dead? We've got AI, and not that I want to go down this thing for a very long time, but the reality is that with AI, you can do a lot, and copywriting is one of them. Marketing is one of them. You can create great copy, great headlines, great material. Are copywriters out of work?
No, not at all. I don't see that happening at all. I still think that, AI has brought, an incredible opportunity that is absolutely and unquestionably transformative to the world of internet marketing. But I still see that while it can put words on a page, and really, really good words if used correctly, it's still not at a stage where it can mastermind, a campaign or the launch or scaling of an entire business. So I don't know if it will get to that level anytime soon. My goodness, if it did, it would be an extraordinary, breakthrough. But I think it's, AI is remarkable as a tool for assisting great copywriters, great strategists. That's really what a copywriter is at the end of the day. Copywriter is really not somebody that puts words on a page. A copywriter is an elite level strategist, a mastermind of generating sales and scaling businesses. And I think AI is a fabulous additional tool in that person's toolbox, but it doesn't replace the tradesman, so to speak.
So more, it's just a speed thing, right? You utilize it to maybe speed the ideas up a bit.
Yeah, it can be a lot more than that. I mean, it's going to become very difficult to compete from a putting words on a page perspective. I think, in the not too distant future, it's going to be very difficult to compete with that. With AI tools on that front. I just think that on that level of the game, AI is really going to be superior to the type of job that I think the vast majority of copywriters can do. But that's more of the final phase of activities that are involved in creating a winning sales funnel, or creating a winning advertisement. The tool is only as good as the instructions you give it. It's only as good as the information that you feed it. So I think that all great selling jobs require a tremendous amount of research and planning and strategic masterminding, and I think that those tasks will still fall heavily on the shoulders of a master copywriter. But certainly the application of copywriting has changed and will continue to change. But the strategic thinking, the masterminding that goes into that is still very much a responsibility of a master copywriter.
I want to also highlight, your history. I mean, you have an impressive career. Like I mentioned at the beginning here, as I introduced you, you were mentored by Gary Halbert, probably one of the top 5 copywriters in the world ever. And he'd done an amazing job. You have learned a lot from him. And in something that I had read, maybe the article wasn't correct, but something that I read was that was like your first, when you met him after spending some time with him, you had made your first million very quickly. So I want to talk a little bit about your career, but I also want to talk about how those who are listening, how they can apply some of the techniques and strategies that you employ to really amplify their business. I mean, most of the people who are listening, they've got a fitness business. They don't have a person on staff that's a copywriter or a marketer or somebody who's in advertising. Most of them are like I was when I was running fitness facilities and gyms, and you don't have the breadth of team members. So let's first talk about your career, kind of how you got started. And then I want to talk about how we can take that information and we can distill it down to some nuggets for the listeners.
Yeah. So at the age of 21, I had the opportunity to move from my hometown in Ireland to Miami Beach to live with this guy, Gary Halbert. He was, as you mentioned, widely considered. He was a living kind of legend, a genius, of the game. He was, very much the Michael Jordan, the Wayne Gretzky, the Tiger Woods of what it is that he did. And, I had the opportunity to move to Miami and not only work with him for 3 years, but as strange as it sounds, actually live with him in his home for 3 years. And he taught me everything that he knew about marketing and advertising and growing businesses. And my very first year in business, I wish when I say I made $1 million, the business generated $1 million. And, I must, admit that it was very much a result of having Gary guide me and direct me. And, that was a tremendous success nonetheless. But it was a great reason why that happened was because I had an amazing mentor like him who guided me. But since then, my brother John and I, we got into business. And since then, we've gone on to take the education, the knowledge, the experience that we got from Gary. We've done amazing things. We've grown, half a dozen different businesses. And as you mentioned there, we've generated over $150 million in sales for the companies that we owned and operated. We work with a lot of, different marketers and coaches and consultants and business owners, primarily on the internet these days, and assist them, with customer generation strategies and things like that for growing their own businesses. But I think that, one of the most profound things that I learned from Gary very early on, that I guess when I started learning it to begin with, I was so new, I was so raw that I didn't even understand the magnitude of what it is that I was doing. But later on, as I began to interact and coach and consult with a lot of other businesses, I grew this increasing sense of appreciation for the following, and that is most people who try to grow businesses, they try to grow them in isolation, meaning that they're an island unto themselves and they start to come up with their own ideas of what I can do and how I should do it. But they are not really following a systematic, strategic plan for success and for growth. And one of the things that Halbert taught me to do literally from day one, that really transformed the game for me was you must first identify your top 3 competitors, your top 3 to 5 competitors. It doesn't matter if you're a gym on Elm Street, you should figure out who are the guys that are really, really, really top of their game, either in your area or even in the country nationwide. Really find out who is absolutely killing it, who is just absolutely crushing it. So important to do that because the fact that those guys are the top 3 to 5 players in the industry didn't happen by accident. It happened by, a lot of trial, a lot of error, a lot of figuring things out, a lot of breakthroughs, a lot of mistakes being made. And they have, clawed their way up the totem pole of success over a long period of time. And they have figured out not only what works, but what works to the degree that results in them being literally the top 3 to 5 guys in the industry. So if you can find out who those guys are, then what you're looking at is essentially the blueprint for success. You're looking at like everything that you need to do, everything that you need to model in order to achieve that level of success. So I teach internet marketers how to do this stuff. And what I say is, find a top 3 to 5 competitor in your niche and reverse engineer everything that they are doing. Now, this is not about copying or plagiarizing or stealing any information or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about here is identifying the blueprint for success, the roadmap, the plan. So if you have to make your way through the Amazon jungle, your likelihood of getting through that jungle safely, on your own, with no help, no plan, no roadmap, no, intelligent map for you to follow at all is extremely low. But if you have a plan, if you have a map, if you have, a blueprint for getting through there, and you can follow that, then your likelihood of getting through there and being successful is extremely high. So the vast majority of people that do not succeed in business or struggle relentlessly, they are unaware of what the true blueprint is for success. They don't understand what the roadmap is. And the fastest way for you to progress in business is to first and foremost identify what that blueprint is. You must identify your top 3 to 5 competitors. You must reverse engineer what it is that they're doing. If you know what they're doing, who they're doing it to, where they're doing it, and you're able to figure out everything from the price points to how they're acquiring customers, to where they're acquiring customers, where they're running ads, what type of ads they are running. If you're able to understand all of that information, then essentially you have the blueprint for success. Once you have the blueprint for success, your likelihood of success, your likelihood of growing, your likelihood of launching a winning business skyrockets. It's not having that plan is one of the major reasons why people don't succeed. And when I was working with Halbert, every time we sat down to create a piece of winning advertising for a client or to launch a business, the very first task, literally every single time, the very first task was identifying who the top 3 or 5 competitors are. This number 2 task was, once we identified who those guys were, we need to reverse engineer everything that they are doing. We need to find out every last thing that they are doing. And then once we know what it is that they are doing, now we have the blueprint. Now we have the lines that we can paint between to create this picture of a beautiful, successful business. And then things progress from that point forward. But the biggest reason why I see business owners struggle today is that they don't have that blueprint. They don't even know where to go to get it. And where you go to get it is you must first identify your top 3 to 5 competitors.
Okay. So as you're talking, I'm like thinking back to the days of owning my facilities and recognizing there's competitors down the street. And in some instances, we may have had a product or service that was completely different than our competitor. Our model may have been completely different. Like when we started, we built a gym that was different than the people around us in the sense that by size, it was different. Services that we offered were different. So for some of these gym owners who are already in business, they've already taken the leap, right? Now they are on that island. They've kind of created this island of their own because they didn't do the research in advance. The only thing that they researched was, one, I don't have, at the time, maybe there were no competitors around them, and they were passionate about something. And so they got into fitness, and they had kind of a little bit of success in the beginning. And now they're at the point where they're struggling because the other competitors have come in, and those competitors have a blueprint and they knew exactly what they were doing. So how do you compete against that?
I think there's so many ways to compete against that. I think one of the smartest things that anybody can do that has a local business is to
Mm-hmm.
not look to compete with other local businesses in the sense of, trying to find their blueprint for success, but to go outside, start finding, much bigger competitors, maybe in much bigger, locations around the country, and really find out what it is that those guys are doing to not, to be the best at what they're doing. A lot of innovation comes from looking outside your own industry, so to speak, finding out what other guys are doing in other places. At the end of the day, though, with all of that said, there are a few kind of inarguable rules of business. And one of those kind of rules of business is whoever owns the tribe, pretty much owns
Mm-hmm.
their own growth. So a lot of what I don't see business owners doing is really building up an audience of people that they frequently communicate with. One of the amazing things that happened during COVID in Miami Beach, where I live, is a lot of businesses got into trouble there. A lot of business, because of the shutdown, went out of business. And there was a fabulous um, uh, restaurant where we live, and it caters primarily to fitness people. They come out of like yoga classes and things like that, and they go in, they get the shakes, they get all of the good salads and everything afterwards. And what these guys did was, because they couldn't do any business as a restaurant, they couldn't, there was no walk-in traffic allowed, everything was
Mm-hmm.
shut down. They captured everybody's information. They captured everybody's information through an app. So when their business was forced to close, they sat down, I imagine, and said, how do we keep the lights on around here? And what kept the lights on for them was they had the app, they had all of the contact information of the people who had come in and done business with them in the past. And what they did was they started doing online yoga classes. Now, this is a restaurant. They started promoting online yoga classes to people who were stuck at home and couldn't come out of their door. And they also then started providing delivery service. So they understood that they were getting business from yoga, and they were like people were coming, getting their food through the app. They were able to communicate with these people, start selling online yoga classes, and then start delivering food to people. And that's only an example, really, of like the power of building an audience and kind of like capturing the contact information of everybody that walks into your business, but also being in frequent communication with them so that you can continuously make offers to them. The guys that do that, the business owners that are in constant communication with their prospects, with their customers, and constantly give them new reasons why to come back and do business with them, those are usually the most successful guys in the industry. There's a saying that I read there recently, and I'm not going to be able to remember it word for word, but I thought it was just so fantastic. And that was, in business, I've never seen financial problems withstand a relentless offer, the relentless attack of new offers, something like that. And the idea being that your business, if you have an audience and you have a solution to offer, and you're able to consistently make new offers to the people on your audience, it's a foregone conclusion that you're going to not only grow your business, but maintain a steady volume of sales and revenue for your business. And I really think that even those that do that, they don't do it to the extent of what is possible. Having your own database of people that you're in frequent communication with, people that you're providing value and you're making constant offers for them to come back into your business, is one of the most valuable things that you can do. And also the businesses that focus on generating leads, are really the businesses that focus on generating leads, communicating with those leads, and making relentless offers to those leads are really the businesses that do well. They usually have a never-ending supply of revenue coming in, and they're
Mhm.
usually the most secure in tough times.
So I've seen gym owners, fitness owners. That I've seen some who've gotten to the point where they're ready to sell, they're ready to exit, and I've seen great operators come in and they do exactly what you're talking about, which is offer after offer after offer, and eventually they find maybe a handful that work really well. It's not the
Mm-hmm.
traditional A/B testing, but it's seeing what these consumers are liking. Uh, and then they grow the business and then they flip it and they sell it. So looking at the way that some operators work, some of the things that I see also happening when I talk with fitness business owners, some of them have a database of customers that previously were there, or have since gone or canceled for whatever reason, and they have a lot of you know gold. I mean, they're sitting on it, but then they don't communicate with them. And so this stuff goes cold. So can you give an example of how maybe someone today, like, I would love, and I'm putting you on the spot, but I would love if somebody were to listen to this and they go, wow, I can do that one thing today because I have a list of people. How can they go out there and get those people reactivated or reengaged, or what kind of offer could they give them to get them in the door to generate more revenue right away?
Yeah, gosh, there's so many different things that you could do there. I mean, giving free classes on a certain topic, is kind of an all-time tested thing. A special discount offer. A lot of the times putting special offers around holidays work really, really well. It's been working since the beginning of time. But it's all really about understanding who your database is, who your people are, what is it really that those people are looking for. A lot of the times with gyms, I feel like there's so much opportunity to serve people in ways that are outside the obvious. Like, people who go to the gym are health minded people, they're
Mm-hmm.
health conscious, and therefore they're interested in so many health orientated things. I myself went to a seminar not so long ago. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. It's like the 10x protocol or something like that, the 10x health protocol. Very interesting, very fascinating, event, all about, infrared therapy, grounding, and using all of these like supplements that are customized to your genetics and things like that. It's very, very fascinating. Not that I'm recommending anything like this, but my point is, um, people who are interested in going to the gym are health minded people. So that opens the door for you to, develop ways and means to attract them back in for free classes, or to give them, incentives to get signed up again for memberships and things like that. But you can't really go wrong either with just really, really good discount, making good offers, giving discount offers for a certain period of time around certain holidays. And again, really paying attention to your competitors and what it is that they are doing, I think, is the ultimate strategy there for any local business owner. It's to really be keeping an eye on what, not just people down the street are doing from you, because you really don't want to be competing against the people down the street. Because that's what everybody is doing. So the guys that you want to be paying attention to are really the people that are just crushing it on more of a national scale,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe in a much bigger city where there's a lot more volume available. I think for me, everything that we do comes back down to studying competitors. I have an Atomic Habit. I don't know if you've ever read that book, but
Mm-hmm.
Atomic
That's great.
Habits is a fabulous book. Everyone should read it. And the whole idea is that if you can develop certain habits, that if you work those habits every single day, they lead to like transformative results. And one of the things that I do in my business is, every single day, I spend time reverse engineering a competitor, because nothing makes me more money than that. There's no other activity that I can do in my business. There's no book I can read. There's no course I can take. There's no mastermind I'll attend. There's nothing else more valuable to me in terms of studying a competitor. Because if I have a business that's working, then usually one good idea could change my financial situation in a very profound way. And therefore, every time I sit down to, spend an hour like reverse engineering a competitor, that's what happens. I'm like digging for gold. So making offers, as I said, that are relevant to your tribe, thinking outside of the box in terms of what is it that people really want. There's that famous story of like the train, industry. Before the airplanes came along, the guys that were running the train industry, when the airplane came along, they said, "No, we're not in the airplane business. We're in the train business." And as a result, they got left behind because everything moved over to airplanes. But they were at like what they didn't realize is that they were in the transport industry. And if they had understood that they were in the transport industry, they would have gotten involved in the airplane industry. And I say that because the gym business, you're in the health industry. And the health industry, there's a lot, if you look at it from that perspective, there's a lot of opportunities there for you to add things to your business that other gym owners are not thinking about. Because one thing as well is for sure is that if you're not providing a complete level of like a complete suite of solutions to your clientele, you can rest assured that they are going and getting those solutions elsewhere. So the people that come into your business, they are going elsewhere for a lot of other solutions. And you have the opportunity to sit down and think about where are those people going and can I bring those solutions in-house? So instead of going over there, they stay here with me and get them from me. Just some ways of thinking.
So listening to what you're saying, and I think this has been implemented in certainly some other fitness centers, where they offer things beyond, to your point, red light therapy. They have saunas, they have IV therapy, hyperbaric chambers. That was one thing that we did in our gyms.
Wow.
So you look at this spectrum of things that can be offered. And then let's say you are a fitness business and you're trying to level up. And so you're taking some of these master classes and these online courses. And one of the things that they teach is niche down to the insane, right? Just go as small and focused as you can on one thing. And then the inverse relationship of that and the opposite of what you're saying, the flip side of that is here you're in the health industry, look at your back bar, so to speak, of things that you can pick from to mix up a concoction that's going to work for your customers because they're in that field. They're going to look for something. So how do they play on both of those divergent concepts, right? You have one teacher, one group of methodology that is saying niche down to the insane. And then there's another methodology that's look at the broad and offer what your customers want. And I think both of them work to some level, but the listeners that are listening to this and people just in business in general, it's so important for them to have clarity. So what would you say to that? If they're listening to this noise over here, how can they also take what you're saying today as a method and apply it?
I think it really boils down to getting clear first and foremost on what it is that the people want that are in your gym. A lot of what we do, in terms of developing really strong offers, is taking the time to put a small group of people into a Facebook group and giving them value in exchange for studying them. So we would put 500 people into a group in a niche that we want to get into. We would give them content, give them solutions for free, and ask them lots and lots and lots and lots of questions. One of the most important questions that you can ask somebody is, why are you here? Like, what happened in your life recently, or what is going on in your life currently that's causing you to want to be here, do this, get involved with this, solution, or just essentially, why are you here? Because if you understand the seed reason why people are here, then that gives you a very expansive understanding of like the motives that people have, why they're turning up. Because very few people want to go to the gym and pump iron. It's more a means to an end. Now, I'm sure that there are people, but generally speaking, the vast majority of people, it's a means to an end. Yeah, it's a means to an end. So what is the end? What is it like? Why are they doing it? You know, um, do they have, is there a certain category of people that have received health scares? And if knowing that, okay, great, what are those health scares? Is there a certain category of people that are looking to find a husband or a wife and get married, and therefore they want to look really, awesome, and they want to feel confident about themselves? Then is there another category and another category and another category? Because each one of these categories, by you knowing about it, you're going to be able to segment people as they come through your door. You're going to be able to say, oh, okay, here we've got 50 plus, person, has, high cholesterol. There's a whole suite of solutions, activities, products, services that you can offer those people that might be completely different to, the 25 to 35-year-old category, who are, more about vanity and looking beautiful. And, and if you can identify what those categories are, then you'll always know what is right for you. You'll always know what is right for you. It'll never be a case of, should I niche down? Should I go broad? You will be operating not from the perspective of, is this a good idea or is that a good idea? You'll be operating from the perspective of clarity, of knowing, hey, these are the categories of people that I serve. When you know who those categories are, what you can start to do then is you can start to maneuver your business to only attract those categories. Because what you might find is that the 50 plus, they turn up more frequently. They, their memberships stay, they stay paying for longer in comparison to the 25 to 35-year-olds. I'm just making this stuff up. So what you can start to do now is, once you understand what those categories are, you start to track that information. You start to know who these people are. Not only can you start to build a greater monetization system around those particular categories, but you will know who's more profitable for you. And then what that will allow you to do is to start to go out and start using strategic advertising means to only attract those people into your business. And then you never really have to worry about whether you're going niche or going broad. You will always be operating from a place of knowing exactly who you want and why you want them and how to serve them and how much those people are worth to your business over time. I don't know if that was an answer to your question there or not, Mike.
It is. It's such great advice, because before I got started in owning my own businesses, I had worked for a company called Matrix Fitness, and I was their product manager developing strength equipment. And at the time, we were a small company, and they've since grown to be the largest company in the world. But when I was there, much like you, I had, hopefully everyone has mentors in their life, because it just kind of speeds things up on what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. But I had a couple mentors that I monitored really, and kind of followed around and paid attention, very close attention to what they were doing. And the current CEO who's there now today, and the previous CEO, I paid attention to what they were doing. I remember when I came in, I had an interview, not an interview, just like they were new to the company. So I came in for like a job review, I guess, and sat down. They took some notes. the following year, when we did another review of performance and kind of what I'd been doing with the company, I first of all, I remember that both the current CEO and the prior CEO, both of them were specifically clear about organization. I mean, everything about them. They carried around their notebook with everything that they did in their day. They were very structured and organized. The way that they carried themselves, always put together. Their offices were always very clear and clean. And I remember that my boss at the time, when we sat down, he got in his filing cabinet and pulled out a file that he'd kept on me for the past year. And I'm thinking to myself, man, this guy's got a file on me. And it just
Yeah.
went to show how organized he was. And as you're talking, I'm thinking about all of these businesses that I've been in communication with. Some of them are really good about being organized and being great operators. Some of them are awful. So I'm thinking specifically about the great operators, the ones who are very organized. They can take exactly what you're talking about. They can categorize every single customer in their business. They know exactly which path they should follow and then how they can market to them. But then you have the ones who are completely disorganized. They've been operating their business for 13, 20 years. They're kind of all over the board. It's a see what sticks, kind of flavor. And for them to go and grab their database of prior customers for the past 13 or 20 years who've been in and out, how do they start capturing that information? Because really, it's a research job at this point, right? They've got to dig deep and start understanding the research. To your point, you spend time now today, part of your atomic habits, right, is understanding your competitors and sitting down and doing more research. So that way you can improve and improve and improve. How can they, where do they start? Because I remember as a kid, we've all had messes, all left clothes on our bedroom floor, all, had a messy room at some point in time, or toys in a toy room that was messy. And when you look at that as a kid, you go, my gosh, this is a lot to clean up. My parents just told me to clean this up. How am I going to organize this? I think
Yeah.
that this same idea happens for business owners, and not just in the fitness industry, but in general. They have a business and it feels freaking messy to them. And they've got all this information, all this data, and it's not collected very well. How can they start so they can do what you're talking about? Because if they can't do what you're talking about, they don't even know how to start. What would you be your advice to them?
I think it'll be a journey. I think for those people, they should first start understanding that what an incredible opportunity they have in front of them for growth. I remember when I was working with Gary, he used to always say to me, the best type of clients to work with are the ones that are succeeding despite, how chaotic they are, because, it's not easy to succeed.
Yeah.
So if you're succeeding with a chaotic or, scrambled kind of business model or approach to things, what an enormous opportunity you have on the table to get organized. Because by getting organized, by bringing order to the chaos there's so much money in that. So I think that, it should be kind of approached from a positive perspective. Wow, I have an enormous opportunity here. I have this database. I'm already achieving X. And by getting organized here, by categorizing these people, by potentially building out different funnels to serve these people in different ways, I could 2x, 3x, 5x or more what it is that I've got. So I think that probably the very smartest place to start is with new people coming in the door. From getting some sort of a proper application process, in place to begin with, to categorize these people going forward. So every new person that comes in the door, you're able to have a clear understanding, who these people are, why they're here, what they're looking to accomplish, what their goals are. And then you're able to kind of form the categories of people. Maybe you'll find that you have 2 categories, 3 categories, 5 categories, but it's about getting into a place where the new people that come in the door, they're not, you're categorizing those people correctly, getting
How
an
can you?
understanding of.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Getting an understanding. You were saying.
Yeah, just that. Like, I think starting with new people and getting an understanding of who the new categories are. From there, I think that you're probably going to have in a business, you're going to probably you're going to have a database of people, depending on what like information you have captured already or potentially have on file. Maybe you have nothing on file. If you have nothing on file for people, then it's really about finding some way to give those people an incentive to fill out, some sort of a form, or in some form or fashion, identify themselves, to get them to present information about themselves to you. So there's a lot of like quizzes. There's a lot of things that happen on the internet. A lot of questionnaires, a lot of quizzes that like marketers put people through that kind of categorize their database into different categories and buckets. So, perhaps there's an opportunity to provide some sort of an incentive to existing customers, existing people on the database, for them to come and fill out, a form that would allow you then to categorize those people. I think there's so many different ways that you can do it. I'm sure that anybody, who's been in business for a while has a lot of regular customers, has a lot of regular people coming in, perhaps knows people on a first name basis, are going to be able to just kind of categorize them manually. And then, really from that point forward, it's just about getting clear on what it is that those people need, to accomplish their goals, because they need way more than just lifting weights. They need
So
information, they need supplements. I'm sure, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but getting people onto continuity, getting people onto a subscription for supplements can change the game, depending on how much volume you've got coming in your door there. To get 100 people, onto a monthly continuity program there, where you're delivering monthly supplements to those people. And I mean, there's if you got 1,000 people on there, like, these types of income streams are a lot. And there's so many different things, like you can have workshops, information based workshops, trainings, unique classes on unique things, like you talked about. You said hyperbolic,
hyperbaric.
yeah, hyperbaric,
Therapy.
excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole workshop on that. And, there could be a whole training there about the benefits of that and how it can help you, your health, and transform your health. And then, oh, by the way, we have, this machine in house now. And you know what I mean? Like, you can start signing people up to use those things going forward. That could be, you could have a once a month workshop going on there. You could have once a week workshop going on. There's so many different things that you can be doing to serve specific categories of people. But yeah, I think it's about really getting a deep understanding of who those people are.
So I'm gonna do my best to kind of sum up some of the information that you've provided. Um, so what you're saying is really, number one, get as organized as you can and take the opportunities that exist, because there's a lot of opportunity there once you start organizing your data and your customers. Then from that, start taking that information and asking those customers, if you don't have the information already, start understanding why they are there. And this is not a subjective thing, because you almost have to objectively quantify your customer base and kind of what category they fit into. And if you have to create more categories, do so. But try to, objectively understand that this person is here because of a relationship issue. This person is here because of a health issue. And you could, if you wanted to break those down further, it could be like heart disease, or, being obese or overweight, or whatever it is, right? Start identifying there. Then once you have that, understand also your competitors and be very scheduled and pragmatic about it, to spend time daily on understanding your competition, who your competitors are, and who's doing it very, very well, and not just on a local level, but on a large scale, even globally. And knowing, digging into the details, like what kind of ads are they running? How are they acquiring their customers? How are they treating their customers? What are they doing beyond just treating their customers to get those customers involved. And then once you get to that point, identifying other opportunities within your business, because now you have this customer base and you have all of these, to your point, they're in the health industry, not in the gym industry. And now you have opportunities to start feeding your customers other pieces of value, whether it's education or it's supplementation or it's nutrition, anything in the health and wellness field. You could start providing that as long as you also do the research for that. So that's how you start scaling in other categories within your business. Now, I want to talk about too, I mean, because of your career, your expertise, you've been leveling up. You have a book coming out, and I want to give people the opportunity not only just to meet with you, if they can, if that's even a possible thing today, because you're so busy, but if there's a way that they can either meet with you or meet with people that you work with or within your team or with your business. And then also, if they can't meet with you, or if they just want to do some extra research, what can they get? What materials and resources can they get? Like I said, I know you have a book coming out and I'm waiting to get it. So how can they do those things? And let's talk about your book, because I want people to hear about this stuff.
Yeah, thank you. So I have a website. It's called multichannelmarketing.com. And, anyone who wants to follow me or learn more about what it is that I do can go to multichannelmarketing.com. You can enter your name and email there, and you'll find out everything that we do. I've got a book. It's called Monetization, and it's Monetization, the Ultimate Multi-Channel Marketing Funnel. It's all about how to acquire leads, customers, and monetize those leads and customers, once you get them. I think one of the most valuable skills, and really, I can't really, think of too many things more valuable than this. The ability to acquire at the exact lead that is the best possible fit for your business, and then nurture that prospect and, provide that prospect with solutions that serve that prospect, as well as, grow your own business. It's really the primary skill of any business owner, is to really master that. Because the people who have mastered that, they are the masters of their own destiny. It's really just two things that you need to do. You need to acquire and monetize. Acquire and monetize. Acquire a lead and then monetize that lead and serve that lead. And, once you get them in the door, don't just provide one service to those people. They need so many more things. And if they're not getting them from you, they're getting them from someone else. But you have the ability to be a one-stop shop for those guys. There's a business that I know of in Miami, and it's like a chiropractor business. And this guy has put together a mastermind of like high net worth individuals. This is a chiropractor. He's put together a mastermind that people pay money for, and it's in the local area. So he's a chiropractor that has started a mastermind of high net worth individuals who are interested.
He identified, he did exactly what you were saying to do, which is identifying your customers and understanding where they're at in their life. Who is your customer? And he found out his primary customers, and then here you go. Let me put a mastermind together for these people.
Exactly. Chiropractor mastermind. This is the way that you need to be thinking of, in to really kind of crush it in the game. Anyway, So multi-channel marketing, for anyone who wants to find out more information or follow me. I've got a book coming out, Monetization, the ultimate multi-channel marketing funnel.
When's the release date for your book?
Yeah, I'm waiting to find out. We're literally putting her. Yeah. It'll probably be in the next 60 days. Most likely in the next 60 days. So there's a waiting list if anyone wants to join and find out about it. So, Michael, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Caleb. You're an inspiration. You have so much information. I wish we had more time. Because I just keep squeezing more info out of you, seeing if we could maybe even get some copy material from you. But thanks so much, Caleb. You've been wonderful today.
Thanks for having me.
And I hope to have you back on after your book is released, because I know there's more material that you can provide.
Well, that'd be my pleasure. Yeah, and my honor. Thank you so much, Michael.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone. Today, thanks for listening to the Sweat Success podcast. And if you have questions, you know where to find Caleb. Everything's going to be in the show notes. We'll talk to you soon. See you on the flip side.